All right, hello and welcome back to another Mr. Pisto Plays Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl Deck Tech gameplay session. We are here, pimped out with Svella, Ice Shaper. 3 mana, 2/4, and you can pay 3 mana and tap her to create a icy manalith artifact that taps to add 1 mana of any color. And you can pay 8 mana, the reason why we're playing the deck. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you got it. We are Gruul ramp. We got lots of cool stuff at the top end and a lot of good ways to get there. All right, let's do this. Blizzard Brawl is a great fight spell, and more often than not, we will have the 3 snow permanents needed in order to make our creature +1/+0 and indestructible until the end of turn. Gilded Goose taps to add a color of mana after you sacrifice an food artifact. You can create a food artifact by tapping it and paying a green and a colorless, and it comes into play with a food for 1-time use. Perforos's Intervention has 2 uses. We're normally going to use the second one. We're dealing twice damage of X to target creature or planeswalker. But you could also make an X1 red elemental creature token if you need to bash face, and that has trample and haste, and you have to sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Scorching Dragonfire, great for those titans that come into play and sacrifice themselves. You can target them with this, deal 3 damage to them. And when they sacrifice themselves, they don't go to the graveyard, they go to the exile zone. Heroic Intervention, a great way to maintain our board state if a board wipe happens, or if we want to save something from being targeted. It gives our permanents hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Elysian Caryatid is a 2 mana 1/1 that adds a mana of any color. If we have something bigger with power 4 or greater, it adds 2 mana of any one color instead. Ram Through, 2 mana instant speed. Our creature deals damage equal to its power to a creature you don't control. And if our creature had trample, excess damage goes over onto the opponent. Sculptor of Winter, 2 mana elf, 2/2 untaps target snowland. It plays really well with our Wolf Willow Haven, along with another spell, Glittering Wish. We have Tangled Florahedron. It taps to add a green mana, or can come into play as a land if you need it. Wilt destroys an artifact or enchantment for 2 mana. You can also cycle it to draw a card if you need to, which is a good thing. And then, as I mentioned, Wolf Willow Haven, it enchants a land, and that adds another green mana. So you want to put this on a red, so your land taps for red and green, which is pretty cool. You can also sacrifice it to create a 2/2 wolf. We probably won't be doing that. If we are in desperation mode. Arcane Signet, 2 mana, taps to add 1 red or 1 green in this deck. Shatter Skull Smashing and Shatter Skull the Hammer Pass. The Hammer Pass comes into play tapped unless you pay 3 life. It just taps for a red. And Shatter Skull Smashing is a great way to deal a bunch of damage to creatures and planeswalkers. Bone Crusher Giant, 4/3 for 3 mana, and it deals 2 damage to a spell's controller that targets it, including yourself, so be careful there. And it has Stomp, which deals 2 damage to any target, and that damage can't be prevented. Soul Seer is a 3 mana, deals 5 damage to a creature or a planeswalker, and that permanent loses indestructible until the end of turn. Great way to deal with some gods. Balaged Recovery, Balaged Sanctuary. The Sanctuary comes into play tapped. The Balaged Recovery returns a card from our graveyard to our hand. Broken Wings, here again, artifact enchantment removal, but this time, instead of drawing a card, it blows up a flyer if needed. Glittering Wish, 3 mana, enchant your land. That land taps to add 2 colors instead of 1. Klythos, God of Destiny. This is in here as a beater if we can get our devotion to be more than 7. And otherwise, it deals with your opponent's graveyard. And if there's nothing left in your opponent's graveyard, you have to do yours. You have no choice. So you exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a land card, you had a red or a green. Otherwise, you gain 2 life, and it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Rada, Heart of Keld, 3 mana, 3/3. This is another one of our cards that can get us into a victory if our ramp is where it's needed to be, but we can't draw anything else. Playing lands off the top of our deck is very cool. It has first strike on your own turn. And you can pay 6 mana to give it +X until end of turn. Rex is the number of lands you control. Then we have 3 ramp spells. Palladium Mirror taps to add 2 mana. It's a 2/2 for 3. Replicating Ring taps for 1 mana of any color. And then over 8 turns, you get a counter on it. You take off 8 counters. You get 8 replicated Ring Snow artifacts. And finally, Skyclave Relic, 3 mana. Taps to add any mana of 1 color. But you can kick it for 3. And you get 2 extra of them, but they do come into play tapped. So for 6 mana, you get 3 artifacts. Ramp for 3 mana, you get 1. Another good ramp spell, Canopy Tactician, 4 mana, 3/3. The other elves you control get +1/+1. We have a couple elves in the deck. Otherwise, tapping for 3 green mana gets us to our 8 we need to hit Svella, plus our other big spells in the deck. Lithoform Engine is here to copy our Svella Ice Shaper. So if we can do this for 8 mana, we get 2 looks at 4 cards from the top of our deck. Or we can copy one of our ramp spells or our burn spells for 3 mana, or we can pay 4 mana on top of one of our permanent spells and copy that and have a token come into play. Solemn Simulacrum, 4 mana 2/2, enters the battlefield, search for land, put that into play tapped. When it dies, draw a card. Goldspan Dragon, 5 mana 4/4 Flying Haste. When it attacks or becomes the target of any spell, including your own, you get a token, a treasure token, and you can sacrifice those treasure tokens to add 2 mana of any 1 color when Goldspan Dragon is on the battlefield. Another strong 5 mana dragon in Terror of the Peaks, 5/4 for 5. When your opponents cast a spell that target it, cost them 3 life. And when another creature enters the battlefield, you deal damage equal to its power to any target. Return of the Wild Speaker, great draw spell. Also can help us get through some damage if we got all our little things out. More often than not, we're trying to use it for the draw capabilities. 5 mana instant speed, draw cards equal to the greatest non-human creature power you control. And we got some good ones. And then we have non-human creatures get +3/+3 until the end of turn. I'm really sad it doesn't say trample, but that's just the way it is. Then we have Fiery Emancipation, 6 mana enchantment. It makes it so your permanents deal triple damage instead of their normal damage. And one thing that's cool with Svella is you can use it as instant speed. So we could be attacking with our things. They let damage through. We use Svella's ability, instant speed, Fiery Emancipation, win the game. Kogla the Titan Ape, 7/6 for 6 mana. We're using it for its fight ability when it comes into play, and its destroy target or artifact or enchantment ability when it attacks. I do not believe we have any ways to abuse its bottom row of text, so we're just not going to worry about it for right now. Yidaro, Wandering Monster, 7 mana, 8/8, trample and haste. This is in here just in case we want to use Svella pre-combat, and we can hit it and we can bash in. It's got a really cool cycling thing where if you cycle it 4 times, you get to put it in the battle onto the battlefield instead of into your graveyard. So every time you cycle it, you shuffle it back into your library. It's kind of cool. Beanstalk Giant, it ramps us for 3 mana, and it is a big beefy creature where its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Colossification, I'm playing this because I think it's kind of cool to attack with your creatures, let one get unblocked. Use Svella, find Colossification, and deal 20 damage on top of whatever your creature's power is, probably winning the game. Otherwise, you can just put it on something. Sure, you have to tap your creature, but it's +20/+20, which is kind of fun. Rampaging Brontodon, another great top-end creature, 7 mana, 7/7. It has trample, and whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn for each land you control. So it can get very big very fast. We're also playing Thorn Mammoth, another 7 mana beater. It's a 6/6 with trample. When it or another creature enters the battlefield, it can fight up to 1 target creature you don't control. And we are playing him, the big bad Ugwin, the Spirit Dragon. Concession to the fact that we are ramping, and I haven't put it in many of my decks, and I thought this was a good home for it because it's just natural in a deck like this. The 8 mana for a 7 loyalty planeswalker is +2, deals 3 damage to any target. -X, exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less. That's 1 or more colors. And then -10, you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. We have lots of big ones, like you saw. So yeah, that's the deck. We got some mountains, some forests, Castle Garenbrig, the pathway, the snow land. We're gonna give the new Kaldheim comes into play tap land a go, having that 1 red, and also paying Gruul plus another green and 3 colorless to destroy another land, and also getting a 4/4 with trample. We have the temple, the Bonder's Enclave. Being able to draw a card when we have a creature with power 4 or greater is quite nice. Command Tower, Fabled Passage, Faceless Haven for a land beater, and Shimmerdrift Veil to help us smooth out our mana base. All right, that's Svella, Ace Shaper, Gruul Ramp. Let's get into a few games. All right. We are up against Tyvar Kell. This is not the kind of hand we want against elves. This is much better against elves. We'll keep this one. We have a removal spell, we have a ramp spell, and we have some big things. That's a good one to play on turn 1. This will be green. We do have a snowland to untap with our sculptor, so that's nice. Interesting. Green. Go. Next turn we can frost and ram through. Alright, so this is basically just an elf plus whatever they need. Yeah, no blocks. Interesting elf to include. They're ramping just like we are. Here comes another 1-drop, maybe. Gotta remember, this has black spells because it is a Golgari commander. He's a good boy. Who's a good boy? All right, what are you doing? We don't got all morning, evening, afternoon, or night, whatever time it is where you're watching. Right, we are going to put this here. And we are going to just have our piece. And ram through something. Next turn we have 2, 4, we have 6 mana next turn. So we have Kogla mana. As long as the sculptor stays alive. We have Emancipation mana if we want it as well. Or maybe we'll even have Brontodon mana. Right, that's fine with me. I think we let that live. Oh no, they're gonna draw a card. I don't really want you to draw a card. We will ram it through. Green, green. Here. I think we Goldspan Dragon, because this doesn't get to fight anything. Or do we Svella? We have 6 mana. I think it's okay if they draw a card next. Let's do this. Get us some more manas. Get in there for some damage. Next time we get Emancipation for a bajillion. Get in there, draw your card. We'll see what they play. Maybe it's just a removal spell. Either way, we have our 7. All right. And we have even more than that. Okay, doke. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 manas. I think we should tappy for green, untappy, and get this out. Auto pay. End the turn. Now we have, it only gets +3, but we got to cast a 7 mana spell on 3 lands, which is kind of fun. No block. I don't think there's much that hurts us. That is very good for us. I think we just win. Unless they can play a 1 mana spell, because this hits for... Oh, I get to bring it back to the battlefield. That's cool. We still just win, I think. Right, that was a good draw. All right. I would like to play this. Auto pay. And then we will untap this. And we will do this. And then we will attack. And deal 36. All right, cool. Fiery Emancipation for the W. All right, let's get into another game. All right, Uncle Sunhome and Snapdax. We get to go first, and we need to mulligan. We get to go first, and we gotta hope for card draw against probably a aggro deck. I mean, we gotta hope for ramp. I think, would I keep that? Like, would I keep this? Probably. We'll keep it. This is probably a loose keep, but it's a keep. Shatter Skull Smashing may come into play at some point. Who's a good boy? Well, we're not missing on land drops, so that's a good thing. We do have a ramper on a stick in some ways. It's a slow ramp, but it is ramp. All right, so this is more of a control-y deck. Definitely play this. That's an interesting card in the Snapdax kind of deck. That was a quick decision. All right, I think we get this on the table. Get it going. And protect it if we need to. We have 6 mana next turn. Interesting card. I think we Temple. Keep that. 4 mana for Lithoform. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm not worried about getting this down right away. My guess is they're going to don't know what this card is doing in the deck. I guess it combos well with Sword of the Realms. It's a good thing we kept that on top. We can just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bye-bye. Oh, we could... I wonder what happens if you copy a Fiery Emancipation. We draw 1 more mana, we can do that. Well, we can't do that, but... What do we got? We have 2, 4, 6, 7 mana. Let's put this on one of these. And then let's attack with this. And end the turn. We can make a artifact with that. If they go to equip anything that Fearjaw, we will soar. Oh yeah, no. No, thank you. Give it protection. Sure. So this is when it dies, it comes back, right? Alrighty, there's a land. This costs 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to do this. This is fun. That just seems fun. You do realize that's lethal. They didn't math very well. Well, turns out I didn't have the right amount of mana to copy Fiery Emancipation. That's my bad. Yeah, I think we got time for one more game. All right, NYE Tyson and Akiri, Fearless Voyager. This is a mulligan. This is... I'll keep 1 mana, I guess. Green preferred. Well, there you go. Ask and you shall receive. Is that good? All right. That is an interesting choice of card. No blocks. Comes what? Nothing. Well, do that. Maybe they have a protection spell. Or a pump spell. Huh. Cool. That's one way to counter our Bonecrusher Giant. Alright, do you got another funky spell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we just play the Replicating Ring and take a hit from Akiri. Or we do this and fight the Akiri. Yeah, let's do that. make them use another trick if they have one, or make their Akiri very expensive. I know it doesn't get us rampaging Brontodon, but it gets their potential card draw off the battlefield. Alrighty then. This into this. And the turn. Then we can do this plus this. Yes, sure. Nothing. No blocks. Pass the turn. Pass the damage. My turn. Let's make this. Why is it on the top? That's fun. We're gonna Brontodon it up. Is this just less random than Svella? Where's that going? Wherever it's going, I'm ramming through it. Sure, I'll take 2. All right. We didn't get to live the dream. Yeah, sure. Okay. But we might, just might, live the Fiery Emancipation dream with this. Oh, we did it. 39 damage. All right, cool. There, the power of instant speed, Fiery Emancipation. All right, let's get into a wrap up. All right, Svella. I don't know why I keep calling her Svella. Svella, Ice Shaper. We created colorless, icy manaless. We got to live the dream of Fiery Emancipation with the rampaging Brontodon and activating Svella. I thought that was cool. That was fun. That was what I was trying to do with this deck. Other ways you could go with the deck. I don't think there's really many other ways other than ramp. But really, what we're looking at is more, what do you put at the top end? You could play Embercleave to do something similar to Fiery Emancipation. You could play Terror of Mount Velas, also giving your creatures double strike until the end of turn. Maybe you could play Morog and try to get more attacks in. Epic Proportions does the big things too. Playing Nyx Bloom Ancient and gaining a metric boatload of mana on your next turn. I still think Colossification is the most hilarious thing you could hit off of this. Unfortunately, we drew it in that last game. Otherwise, we would have had it off of Svella instead of the Fiery Emancipation. You could play more basics and run Phylath. You could run the Great Henge. An 11/11 trample for not necessarily free, but at instant speed is kind of cool. Hermetic Orrery, just giving yourself more mana. Yeah, the deck's fun. It was a challenge to come up with something that wasn't just ramp, and then I just went, well, you know what? Bella wants us to ramp, so we're gonna play some ramp package with the Wolfwillow Haven and the Sculptor of Winter, Glittering Frost, and play big beefies, and it proved to be not bad. All right, that's the deck. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you're in the world. From Mr. Pisto to you. Bye for now.